Welcome to Wordsmiths and a Wolfhound.
Happiness through arts and self-sufficiency.
Our topic this month is on success and happiness, two things that I think many people would love and don't necessarily have. But before we reach that, what have we been doing over the last couple of weeks?
Oh, we have been very busy. Apart from Christmas and New Year's and all that fun stuff, we've been going down to see my son wrestle. It's been fun to watch him get pins. We have been putting out some videos, just starting on companion gardening. Now, I had already put out some that tell you which plants work well with others, but now I'm starting on a series that gives you sample outlines for how to actually put these gardens out, how to lay them out. And it's important to have 5 or 6 different plans at least, because you ideally should rotate these crops year to year. So we have put out some music. Chris just wrote a piece, composed a piece called Fairy on the Rock. And we used some of the wonderful imagery from our property that the previous owners left here, which we might talk about later, to make a really beautiful video with some fairies and unicorns. And yes, they left unicorns. I'm not kidding. We had a fun one about shoveling in the Midwest some very deep snow. And I believe one of your favorites was medieval cooking. We also talked about my favorite childhood book, In the Keep of Time. It's a novel and really quite profound for a children's book. So that's what we've been up to. How about wine? What do we have tonight?
Well, I thought since we're talking about success and happiness, what would be more illustrative of success and happiness than to imagine drinking wine on the Tuscany coast of Italy. And so I happen to have this wonderful Tuscan wine, which I thought would make a nice accompaniment to our topic this evening.
Success and happiness.
And wine.
Cheers.
Cheers. I think one of your other major accomplishments in December was to actually get your first granddaughter, if I'm not mistaken.
Why, yes, I did.
Perhaps you could tell us about her.
I wouldn't say that was my accomplishment.
Oh, I beg to differ.
Right. Jackie, disregard him. You get all the credit. Yes, after 2 grandsons, my daughter-in-law gave birth to a beautiful little baby girl. And so it was very fun to see these little kids, 3, 2, and brand new.
Very wonderful. That is absolutely a wonderful blessing, especially over the holidays, to be able to gain more in the way of grandchildren across our wonderful family together. And so this topic of success and happiness, and not just successful and happy grandchildren, but successful and happy people. It starts with this idea of a poem we happen to see in a newspaper, and it kind of lays the foundation for what one might consider a successful life. And Laura, would you read that poem to us, please?
So this came, some people have credited to Ralph Waldo Emerson, but there's no evidence he actually wrote it. So a similar one was written in 1904 by Bessie Anderson Stanley. And it says, what is success? To laugh often and much. To win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, or to earn the approbation of honest critics and endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, to give of oneself, to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition, to have played and laughed with enthusiasm and sung with exultation, to know even one life has breathed easier because you have lived. This is to have succeeded.
And you know, there are a number of aspects of that poem that really called out to me in terms of aspects that I think we find important to our life. Laughter being central, of course, and humor that's related to laughter is very important in our life. The idea of being important to a child, and the fact that we've got 10 children between us, and you know, this is such a wonderful blessing that we've made a difference in each one of their lives. A number of these aspects to me really call out to what success is all about. Now, another consultant by the name of Jack Canfield, who was kind of a management consultant and kind of a life coach type of a person, came up with 3 concepts that he considered foundational to both success and happiness. The first one is to do what you love, based on this idea of the law of attraction. And how he expresses this is the idea that you attract things to your life that you're focused on. So if you focus on positive things will accrue to your life. And consequently, if you focus on negative things, your life can get wrapped around those types of negative aspects as well. The second element that he speaks to is to determine what qualities you enjoy. The idea of what are the 1, 2, or 3 of your own qualities that are most central to your own enjoyment in life. And then the third one is to actually make a life purpose statement, and not just to write it, but to live it and really enjoy your life and find it focused as a function of that life purpose. So, Laura, doing what you love, the types of the things that you like to attract to yourself, what are the types of things you like that you really love doing?
Well, I have loved having my 9 children. I kind of miss having them all at home, although it's quieter. But there was a delightful energy when they were all home.
Yes.
I love that I very early on was challenged by a dear friend to live my faith, and she asked, if you don't believe it, why do you call yourself this faith? And I had no good answer. So I made a decision. Do I really believe this faith or don't I? If I do, why? And if I believe it, then I need to actually follow it. And that really made all the difference in my life. It's, I have 9 kids as a result. Being able to play music, that has brought me a lot of joy, being able to write stories and to be able to publish them, and to know that people out there have loved my books. And even to have people say your books really made me think and made a difference in my life, those are the things that bring me real joy.
And I would, yes, definitely say that in my estimation, those things do bring you joy. The things that I love include sharing life with you and our wonderful family, and especially my daughter, Emily. I'm happiest when I get to share my experience with others. The idea of an experience-based life versus a material-based life. The idea of what it means to live in God's world and to appreciate all that comes from Him as a function of that. My vocation, as opposed to my avocation, my vocation is to architect the nation's most complex systems. And I really have a joy in doing that, particularly for the warfighter. The idea of their mission focus and the integrity and honesty they bring to their work are things that are very, very important to me as I work to improve their ability to do their jobs.
And if I can just interject something here, one of the things this poem speaks to is the idea that happiness and success come in part from making somebody else's life better. And I know that part of the reason I have loved music so much, I have to tell a funny story. Years ago, I got suckered into this sales scheme. And it was actually a very, very fine company as far as their product. I love their product, but I hated their sales method, which pushed us to just contact anyone we'd ever known in our lives and suddenly want to demonstrate fine cutlery. And what we were told by the manager in the 3 days I was with the company was, never say that you're selling knives. Always say, you made somebody's life better today. And okay, I still laugh at that. Like, they are good knives. I love them. I want more of them. But I don't really believe that I made somebody's life better by selling them a knife. Whereas, with music, I genuinely feel that I have made kids' lives better. I've taught probably a couple thousand kids over the course of my teaching career. And that matters to me because music is going to be with many of these kids for their whole lives, and it's a source of joy. And I think with you, it's perhaps even more profound that you're doing things that are perhaps saving lives.
Yes, indeed. But also in terms of things that we enjoy in our own lives as well. The difference between vocation and avocation, the avocation of writing poetry, of playing and writing music, and being in nature on our land, as well as being self-sufficient. Those are avocations that I find add to my happiness as well as ours here as well. And they also speak to those foundational elements of faith and family and friends and the flag that all orient to what it means to be truly successful and happy. So the next element, determining what qualities we most enjoy. And Laura, I'll kind of put you on the spot. What two qualities in your life do you most enjoy about yourself?
I'm going to go with the ability to learn new things, the inquisitiveness behind that, and of course, the ability to play music and write.
Yes, I think those are two very important things that I would also read from how you live your life as well. Two most important qualities to me are facilitating others' success. I'm a manager in the work that I do, and the idea of being able to grow people in their careers and grow so that they even excel, certainly from their own personal standpoint, but exceed my position in the company as well, I think to me is extremely exciting. That idea of facilitating family member success, of anyone's success, that if there's something I can bring to somebody that will allow them to be more successful, I find to be one of my favorite aspects of myself. And also doing those things that bring me closer to God, praying, being thankful, being in gratitude for all the blessings I've received, and following our Lord in faith, to me are a quality that I appreciate about myself, but also that is central to my own life. And here we have our wonderful wolfhound, who is central to our channel here at Wordsmiths and a Wolfhound. She is, of course, very affectionate.
Full half of it, and she's trying hard to sit on my lap.
Which, you know, if you've ever had a dog like this, they believe they're the size of a Chihuahua. And, you know, sometimes it becomes a little more difficult to have them when they're trying to sit on your lap. So the third idea here that Jack Canfield brings is this idea of making a life purpose statement. And in a nutshell, Laura, what would be your life purpose statement?
Well, you know, I've often said I was born with midlife crisis. And by the time I was 10 years old, I was saying, it's been a whole decade and I've done absolutely nothing with my life. And I'm actually not joking about that.
I know you aren't.
So yes, I was working on writing a novel when I was 10, and that fell through because O. Henry stole my idea and wrote it before I got
Darn
to
that
it.
O. Henry
Right.
guy.
Hate him. But, you know, I was born with this sense of purpose. I was born with this just sense that we need to put something good into the world. We're not here just for ourselves. And so I've been very driven by that I have to put something good into the world somehow, you know, whether it's music or books or raising good kids. And, you know, I'm proud to say I have raised kids who stay close to their faith, who are doing volunteer work, who are getting good jobs, raising good kids. They're doing good things with their lives.
Yes, indeed. From my own personal standpoint, the idea of fulfilling my godly destiny, to do what our Savior has preached, to attempt to follow him with my heart, soul, and mind and strength, to fulfill every sacrament, and particularly the sacrament of marriage that we're together in, as well as the sacrament of being with this dog.
I'm not sure that's important. A sacrament,
yes.
But
and also from two of my very favorite Bible verses, 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verses 16 through 18, to pray without ceasing, to be joyful in everything, literally to rejoice in everything, and to be thankful in all circumstances, to me is part of my life purpose statement. And also from Job chapter 1, verse 21, naked I came into this world, naked I shall leave it. The idea of the Lord bringeth and the Lord taketh away. Blessed be God's name forever. To me, I think, especially if you think about what Job went through and how that was central to his life and his entire existence, to me is something I would like at the center of my own life. But more practically, what that means is to read amongst our extensive library and everything the world has written, to write, to play music, to compose music, to just be in music, to be in God's moment continuously throughout life, and to take advantage of every gift that I've been given and that we've been given. To me, all of those aspects are central to my life's purpose.
And I think an interesting topic for a future video will be how do you have happiness? How do you have joy when things are not going well? And one of the kind of motivating readings in my life was reading about Corrie ten Boom. She and her father and sister were hiding Jews in Holland during the Nazi era. And fairly close to the end of the war, they did get caught, and all three of them were sent to a concentration camp. Her father might have died before he got there. Her sister Bessie definitely did die in the concentration camp, and Corrie survived. And Corrie, just like Viktor Frankl, talks about the fact that we can find joy and happiness no matter what our circumstances are. And you have experienced some pretty horrible things in life. I've experienced some very difficult things in life. Everybody has. And so I think it's easy, or it might appear easy to some, for us to sit here and say we have this beautiful property, we're happy. But it doesn't come from that. It doesn't come from your circumstances. And that'll be a good topic for future conversation.
And amongst those other good topics, I know we have a few other things that are coming up. And based on the fact that our dog, our wonderful wolfhound, is scratching at the back door, we'll probably have to end fairly quickly here. But what are some of the things we have coming up soon?
Well, she's left the back door, so now we can talk for the next 5 hours.
Excellent news.
Yeah, not for those who have to listen. So I had previously put together some pieces on companion gardening, which plants go with which. I'm now starting a series, one of which has gone up, on actual plots. So there will be some more of those coming. We have some more music coming. I'm just putting together a video, putting some pictures to your performance of In Christ Alone.
Yes, one of your very favorite
songs.
songs.
Very beautiful arrangement. We are looking at some more books to review. So one of them will be We the Living by Ayn Rand.
Yes, her very first novel.
But I think the next one coming up will be a book called A Separate Peace, which I believe I read in high school, and it's a very powerful, memorable book about a man maybe in his early 40s who goes back to his alma mater, his high school, and has to face some of the things that happened there, and really has to take a look at himself and who he is, and sort out the questions of why he did what he did, and face the fact that we all think we're pretty decent people, but he has to face the fact, whatever, that he was really guilty of some serious character flaws that led to some serious consequences. And they were, you know what, most of us would consider pretty minor things in these days, but he has to face himself. And it's a powerful story I've never forgotten, even though I haven't read it in years, so I guess I'll be rereading that quick. And let me see, we'll probably do some more medieval cooking. I think you had something in mind.
Well, there's a number of recipes in Laura's wonderful integration of both a storybook and a cookbook. And, you know, one of them is something that reminds me perhaps of my own existence at parties. Since my favorite subjects are economics and philosophy, we're going to probably need to cook a wild boar at some point.
Emphasis on the boar.
Yes.
That's okay. I get excited about scales and how Robert the Bruce killed people. So.
And speaking of scales, students out there of music, study the scale of C sharp major. It can only do good things for you. And speaking of facting my face, I love this wine, and I wish you cheers.
So I don't know, a prize to anyone who guesses how many takes this took and how much wine we've pretended to drink.
Drink.
Drink to pretend.
Greetings to you and cheers from
cheers.
Wolfhounds and wordsmiths, or wordsmiths and a wolfhound.
There's only one wolfhound.
We wish for more, though.
We do.
Yes, and we should put together a GoFundMe for that. I think that'd be very, very good.
Right. Cheers.
Cheers.
Look in the